November 13, 1966. Two Israeli Mirage 3 fighters shatter the dawn silence as they streak towards the Jordanian border. Hostile aircraft are firing on Israeli troops. The Mirages are flying to the rescue. Within minutes, the two Delta Wing Mirages arrive in the hot zone. The Israelis immediately identify the distinctive swept wings of Jordanian Hawker Hunters.
The Jordanians had a very good aircraft produced by Britain called the Hawker Hunter. Now, those airplanes did not have the power and speed of the Mirage, but they could be very effective dogfight aircraft.
Another pair of 119 Squadron Mirages joins up, but the Israelis are still outnumbered. 4 Mirages against 8 heavily armed Hunters. The Mirages are here. The Hunters are here, attacking Israeli ground forces. The Israelis quickly roll into the attack from 5,000 feet. The adversaries merge into a World War I-style melee at jet speeds. Major Ran Ronan, 119 Squadron CO, leads the attack.
It was our first fight against the Jordanians and the Hunters. It was a very tough fight.
Turning and twisting with maximum effort, the Israelis fail to get a clean shot.
What was a surprise, they acted, reacted, and maneuvered better than I thought.
The French-built Mirages were originally designed as high-altitude Mach 2 interceptors, optimized to attack bombers with air-to-air missiles.
The fact is that with an interceptor, you want to get up there and accelerate quickly and climb to high altitude. But those interceptors were not initially designed for dogfighting because that was not their mission.
The Jordanians, trained by the British Royal Air Force, are good. Very good.
It's like having a dogfight against the Israelis in a training. You know, in a training, it was tough.
And that battle that lasted about 6 minutes or so, which is very long in air combat, there were no kills. The Israelis couldn't get any of the Jordanians, and Jordanians couldn't get any of the Israelis.
But Ran Ronan's professional pride and the honor of the squadron demands a victory. He singles out a Hunter.
Then I was upset and said, no, I must get one. And I found one of them and said, this one, I'm going to shut down.
Ronan slips behind his intended victim and manages to track him in his gun sight. His finger is poised on the trigger. Suddenly, the Hunter breaks. The Jordanian rolls inverted, dives for the ground. He desperately tries to shake the Grim Reaper off his tail. Then, the Hunter pitches nose up and zooms skyward. It's a smart move. The Mirage is faster and has a higher stalling speed. In order to stay on the slower Hunter's 6 o'clock, Ronan must slide back and forth. He's unable to get a clean shot. And the constant scissoring is bleeding off precious airspeed. If Ronan gets too slow, he'll stall out, lose control, and become an easy target for the Hunter. Ronan balances in the air with stick and delicate taps of the rudder, flying a tightrope between stalling and overshooting the Hunter.
He pulled, I went here and then here, behind him. We were very close. We looked at each other.
Ran Ronan is seconds from losing the battle. He's pushed his Mirage 3 to the razor's edge of sustained flight. When the Israelis acquired the Mirage 3 in 1962, they knew it wasn't built to dogfight, but it was the most advanced fighter they could get their hands on. There were few countries willing to supply arms to the Jewish state. The Mirage had a strong, streamlined airframe, and at Israel's insistence, two 30mm cannon. It used a distinctive triangular wing shape called a delta, the product of German World War II research into high-speed flight.
The delta wing is very efficient. Structurally, it is small, it is strong, it provides a lot of room for fuel, and it also is highly swept so that it reduces the drag at increasing speed, supersonic and near supersonic.
While the delta wing is optimized for high speed, the swept wing is more versatile, a compromise between maneuverability and speed. The Hawker Hunter used the more traditional swept wing design typical of 1950s fighters.
It was a large wing blended into the fuselage, so it had excellent lift and it had a 10,000-pound thrust engine, so it was a good maneuvering platform.
The Mirage is faster, but the subsonic Hunter is more maneuverable with a lower stalling speed. It also has four 30mm cannon to the Mirage's 2. Now, a skilled Jordanian in an older and slower Hunter has put Ran Ronan at a disadvantage in a vertical fight. The Mirage is about to run out of airspeed.
And he made a big mistake.
The Hunter pilot suddenly loses his nerve. He brakes first.
This is what fighter pilots wait for, the other people's mistake.
Now, Ronan seizes the moment. He drops behind the Hunter. But before Ronan can get off a shot, the Jordanian dives for the ground and ducks into the hills.
The escape route towards the east would have taken him away, and he didn't think the Israelis were a bit crazy to follow him in that canyon. But he didn't know Ronan. He was crazy. He was determined to get him, and he followed him into the canyon.
The Hunter skims over the earth at over 500 knots, leaving a wake of dust and kerosene fumes. His only hope is to drive Ronan into the ground or into the canyon wall.
I never saw such a low-level flight like this Hunter, at the bottom of the canyon. Never.
There was a lot of turning, but he couldn't put the peeper on him and shoot him. He had to be approximately 15 feet below him in order to shoot. He couldn't be at the same level as he was.
The 30mm cannon arcing trajectory requires that the Mirage be angled slightly up at the target.
I couldn't go 2 meters down to put my gun sight on him. It's amazing. I was 250 meters behind him all the time.
For 2.5 minutes, the roar of jets echoes through the hills. The Hunter pilot maneuvers confidently through the canyon. Behind his oxygen mask, sweat streams down Ronan's face and pools under his chin. The sound of his own heavy breathing fills his helmet. His frustration mounts. It looks like the Jordanian is going to make it. Suddenly, everything changes.
Ronan got lucky, and there was a little hill inside that canyon.
The Hunter raises its nose. Ronan nearly shouts for joy.
He was forced to pull. He got to my gun sight, and I pulled the trigger for less than 1 second. 21 bullets.
30mm high explosive rounds impact with deadly efficiency. The tail of the hunter begins to disintegrate, but the airplane stubbornly flies on. Ronan stares down at his handiwork. What happened next haunts him to this day.
The aeroplane turned to the left 90 degrees. Then he ejected and crashed to the wall of the canyon. That's what I saw, that I turned that and I saw it was unbelievable.
Splash one hunter. Ronan has his first kill. But his opponent had fought like a lion.